Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to another fun episode of Life After, a show dedicated to hearing the stories of past students after they leave high school. My name is Katie Zeeck, and I'm a teacher at Southeast High School. These interviews feature students that I have taught in the past. Today, we are joined by Noah Henderson. Welcome, Noah.
Hello, Kansas City.
It's so fun to have you here.
It is too. I've missed you guys so much.
Really quick?
Yes, I have all the time in the world for Southeast. Great school. Fantastic. Really. Made a lot of nice lifelong friends, I can say. Some good, some bad, That's how high school goes. It's life. You don't get to, everybody that starts the ride doesn't stay alone.
So true, so true. So tell us, Noah, what year did you graduate and what do you remember most about that year?
Okay, I graduated 2020. I know. What I remember most is really just exploring myself senior year, learning where I was going in life. Was I gonna go to art school or was I gonna, go straight into the workforce? I was battling that entire question, and then the pandemic hit. We didn't get the normal high school finish, but we did get graduation, which was a godsend because a lot of people did not get to do that.
Yeah, that was a tough year to graduate and finish your year. You went through so much from August to March, and then we just never came back after spring break.
Yeah, because I was like, what? And the entire time we were joking, we were like, that the coronavirus is never going to reach the US. Boom. Instantaneously, it was over here, and they're it's in Kansas City, and I'm like, how did it reach the states that fast in a span of a few weeks?
I know.
It was all crazy, and I just tell people I really use the time to reflect and notice that everything in life is not instantaneous as we want it to be.
Yeah, I think that's a good perspective to have. I know so many students were frustrated not to have a prom, not to have a traditional graduation. And I think, we did our best with what we knew and what we could control. But that's something you're never going to get back. And so I'm glad to hear that, you're trying to look at the positives from it all and see how much you've grown. So update us. What have you been doing since you've graduated?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've enrolled myself in the Academy of Art University. It's an art school based in San Francisco. I've been taking their comic illustration course. I have, over the past few months, learned an entirety of stuff that I never could have learned on my own. I've learned perspective, I've learned anatomy, I've learned lighting, putting structures together, buildings, cars, explosions, different types of shots. It's all very interesting.
Yeah, you've always been interested in comics. Ever since I had you in class and I knew you in the building, you would always come up from art and show me your latest comic, or I'd get to read a script of something you were working on, and so creative. And I'm so proud of you for following your dreams and pursuing that, just because it's not your typical path that you would take. You're not going to be a doctor. You're not going to go to law school. You are truly trying to follow your passion. So what are you doing these days with your schooling? Are you balancing school and work life and all of that?
I've tried to do a little bit of all three because I do tell my friends and family hey, I apologize for not being able to hang out all the time. It's but my career field is so demanding. I look at it like this. I want this job, but there are also 500,000 other people in this country who want to be a comic book artist. So I have to make the sacrifices sometimes. That means going to the wedding parties, going out to eat all the time, going to celebrate birthdays. It's I can only do so much with the workload that I have currently, just going through my life.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm sure that it's hard to sacrifice some of those things in order to follow your dream. But I know that it's going to benefit you in the long run.
Yeah, most definitely.
Um, can you tell us a little bit about some of the comics you're working on, or do you want to show us any?
Yes, I do actually have some few examples here. This is some of my most recent work. Trust me, guys, took me a good 30 to 40 minutes to get like down to my exact few pieces that I love the most. And we're starting off with the man himself, the Man of Steel, Superman. This is a drawing that I have done of Superman. The lighting's kind of not that good, but it's something that I worked on, like took a couple of months. It was for an assignment, and the assignment was outer space. So, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman, it's the Man of Steel. You can do anything. I've done a Daredevil dark cover. Well, it was like a fan cover. It got featured at Marvel's little like it was like Students in the Rising kind of thing. It was but it was like not that good because you had to do so much stuff with it, and I kind of overdid it a little bit, but I still like the way it looks. I've done this soldier. I did this for Veterans Day. Like this was like a real like emotional piece for me to do because I've had people in my family who have went to the army and like have lost their life, in the line of service. So doing that piece was something like real important to me. I didn't want to overcloud the background. I just wanted to be the main focus, to be the soldier, that grizzled look of like standing tall in the face of death. And this last piece that I'll show you, if you've ever heard of the Amazon original show, Invincible, the character Mark Grayson. Invincible is a pretty graphic. It's like the unusual superhero comic. People actually, like, when you die in comics, you usually don't stay dead, but in this Europe, you die. And then, it's kind of gloom, but it's like this wild twists and turns of events, and it's like I don't know what's gonna happen next type of thing. And it's always a good show to get into. So yeah, that's the few pieces I've been working on.
You are so talented. You have really grown as an artist over these past year, even. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Good for you. I see Spider-Man in your background. Do you have an affinity for Spider-Man, or tell me a little bit about that?
Okay, so this is gonna be an embarrassing story. My mom's probably gonna hate me for it later, but Spider-Man was like the very first superhero that I saw. The one with Tobey Maguire, 2002, it came out. I literally played that tape to death. This is for the younger kids. Yes, we had VHS. I'm not that old. I'm 20. I'm 20 years old. I'm 20. We're not that old. We had VHS, and I played that tape to the death of it. The film burnt out. They went and got another one, and they was like, "Don't do this again." Spider-Man 2 came out, did the same thing. So yeah, Spider-Man is that character for me, especially like what they've been doing in the past few years, showing that anybody can be Spider-Man. Because with me in comics, it's really about representation of everybody. It's not just, Peter Parker, because I've explained in the past, like, how does it feel to not be able to say, I can see myself in these characters? So when Miles Morales came out in 2013, my godmother gave me, this Spider-Man comic book with the Black Spider-Man in it. And I'm just like so all shocked at it. I read that book a million times, and I kept telling her, when's the next one coming out? When's the next one coming out? Literally have the entire collection of the original Miles Morales run. I can tell people, of the kids today, if it's something that you really want to do and you can see yourself doing, go for it. Because I saw myself being able to say, I want to draw this character doing this because it means so much to me as a person. Wore a Spider-Man. You're talking to the kid who wore a Spider-Man costume to sleep every day, like just thinking they're Spider-Man. My mom's like, "Hey, you got to take that off." I'm like, Spider-Man don't take his costume off. It's always underneath his clothes. And he told me going to school, "Hey, you can't wear that." He's getting up there in age, and I'm like, I always like to tell people, keep the kids in that bubble for as long as possible, because like the dreamers are the people who will move the country, is what I say. The people who are stagnant and like just you can't do anything like that, don't ever listen to them kids, because those are people who do not have your best interest, and they really are I would say they're really jealous of what you're doing and the steps you're taking in your life. So yeah, that's what like Spider-Man meant to me. So
Yeah.
inspiring. Kind of like Superman. Like just places or it's levels of just levels humanity can strive to be like, even through my pain and my sacrifice, I'm willing to give my all for the betterment of humanity. That's
Mm.
why I love these characters so much.
That's real. Yeah. And how you can relate them. They may be fictionalized. They may
Yeah,
either die immediately or come back in 18 different forms.
yeah,
And yet they're still relatable for you and anybody. I love that.
yeah.
Was there anything that you experienced in high school that has helped you feel prepared to kind of follow your dreams and be where you are now?
Yes, I've had a wonderful slew of teachers, including the lovely Miss Zeeck herself.
Mhm.
I've had a multitude of teachers kind of like guide me, and when I was telling them about my dreams and stuff to be a comic artist, they're like, "But are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to outwork your competition?" They, though I was very bullheaded in high school.
You? No.
Yeah, like on certain topics, I can't just be super humble. I was bullheaded on certain topics, like I'm gonna do it my way or the highway. But
Mhm.
as I've gotten older, I've really learned to like humble myself and like the approach and learning that this is a quote I got from Mr. Green. Not everybody's journey starts at the same point. Whether your journey starts 10 or
Mhm.
15 years from the person that you admire, that will be something that is for you.
Mhm.
Because I've even learned from watching interviews of other comic book artists that I look up to. It's never, they're always saying it's never too late to break into comic. It's about the time you're willing to put in. Who do you know? That's another thing. I learned that from Miss Crockett, like going to these places where the talent scouts are. And like, even though I know and they know, like, this is not industry ready, just get your name out there. Like, just go out there to like let them know, hey, I'm on the radar. Look out for some of my work in the future. So
Yes, good for
I
you.
appreciate that from Southeast.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that. And while you may identify yourself as bullheaded at times, I think it's only helping you be able to follow your dreams. I think it would be completely understandable if you get frustrated and just decide this isn't for you, but you haven't. And you're making those sacrifices to continue to follow your dreams. I'm so proud of you for that.
Thank you. It's been a tough year, like really just ripping artwork to pieces and like crying because like why did I just do that?
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine. Did you have an art teacher that you remember that kind of helped push you or?
Yeah, he was there my junior year, I believe, and I had showed him some of my work, and he literally, like, random teachers even just like, hey, I know this guy on Twitter, I know this guy, and like because they've done that,
Mhm.
I've gotten to explore and talk to some of these real life editors. Like recently, a few months ago, I came on to his name is Jeff Johns of DC. I showed him some of my stuff on Twitter. I DM'd him like 50 times though. He was like, hey kid, I love the tenacity of you of not giving up and keep sending me like the most recent drawings that you've done, like, because he has done some of my favorite stuff. Like he's written some of my favorite comic books.
That's
So
awesome.
DC is like a company I really want to work for because there's so many characters. Marvel's good, but DC needs help right now. joking,
I
joking, joking.
can't
But
wait
yeah.
to see the comments that come from this and people
Oh
who
yeah. They're
love
like,
it.
he's a DC fan. No, guys. I'm neutral. I do believe in versus battles. I do believe, you know, Batman can't beat everybody.
Right, right. Go on.
No, no, no. Not the Man of Steel himself. No.
I love it.
Not,
Um, well, let's end with some advice. You talked about things that teachers have helped you with throughout your career, and I know your family has been a big part of your life as well.
yes.
But thinking about future generations and students who may be in high school now or in who might be watching and have a similar goal to you, what advice would you give them to help keep them on their path?
Okay. Rule. Okay, I got the five-prong step is what I like to call it.
Love it.
Rule one. Limit what you are doing. Like, do not overload yourself. Know your limits and know what you can and cannot do. I still struggle doing certain angles and stuff like that. Know that that's a limit that you have. and work on it.
Mm.
Work on it. 2, repetition. This is like the literal second most important thing. Do not start something and don't finish it, because you can literally start to see your work decline of not being consistent. Like I've even seen it. Like I've had to take breaks because of the pandemic, and I've jumped back in and I'm like, dude, I've lost so much progress. It's because like even kids, even if it's 20, 30, 10 minutes, 5 out of the day, grab your little sketch pad, sketch you up a little something, look around your surroundings. 2, well, no, not 2, but 3, always be open to criticism. Please do not be one of those people who like go up to these people and automatically expect, yeah, I'm just that guy or that girl. I can just come up here and say, this is my work. Now you got to hire me. No, because they don't. Like I said previously, there are 500,000 people in the country battling you for this same job. Mm-hmm. You just have to be humble when appreciating the feedback that they're giving. It's going to sting a little bit because, this is something you thinking you're the best of your abilities, and it's not to them. And they're the people there to tell you that for a good reason, so that they can set you up for success later. Step 4, just have fun with it. Literally, if you are not having fun drawing, that is a sign to tell you. If you don't get like mad at a piece, set it down, but then come back a few hours later and like finish and just, go in 100% on it, maybe this is not the field for you. Comic books is a very competitive field, kids. I am not joking when I say this. And then the 5th step, always look for influences or people who are better than yourself. Take what you like from each artist to try to find your own, because this is a question that gets asked a lot in our community. Like, how do I get to draw like you? It's like, and then people tell them, like, I took it from a multiple to people. I know a couple of good people online to like learn from right now is David Finch. He has an entire YouTube like full of tutorial for just comic books. I'm 20 and I still watch his. He streams every Sunday. And he gives so much information because he likes to teach. He has courses and stuff like that you can take. Jim Lee. Jim Lee is another phenomenal comic book artist who streams and shares and teaches how to do stuff like that. Mike Mignola, and it's so many more people that are better than myself that I look up to, and I'm like, I like the way that they draw hands, or I like the way that he does lighting, So I would always say, take in from a multitude, not to rip people off. Always pay homage. Like if you do a piece that was previously drawn by somebody else, always pay your homage, because the worst thing in the art community is being a art thief. We do not like that. But yes, last thing I will leave you kids off is be positive with it. Don't be negative in the comments. Do not really care about likes or comments or how much it's seen. Just continuously post and get your stuff out there, because one day someone will recognize it. And I love you guys. Excelsior. So Birds of Pain. It's been Noah.
It's been Noah. Noah, how can we follow you as you continue on your journey?
Okay. I do have my social media. Oh, if this camera will focus, jeez.
Okay.
And I'll also leave a link to all my stuff. I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram. I'm starting some secret projects that I'm sharing with Ms. Zeeck very soon.
Okay.
That is something I will leave you guys with. And I will be trying to do like a Kansas City oriented comic book. That is like the most I can tell you about it right now, because the writer that I'm working with is like, don't give up too much, because the writer himself is a Kansas City native and he wants to see a story about a Kansas City superhero. So like we're just like going back and forth trading ideas. So yeah, follow me on the social media, stay in tune. I might start doing lives pretty soon. And
No, that is so awesome. You're doing such wonderful things. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. It's been a pleasure to find out your path after high school. Our hope is that by having these conversations with our own career paths, it might inspire and inform other people about their own pursuits of a successful future. Thank you for being here, and thank you to Kansas City for listening in today.
Thank you, KC. Love you.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.